You're not tired. You're overstimulated. You're not unmotivated. You're addicted. And the drug you're hooked on is dopamine. Stay with me, because this habit is stealing your future. Let's talk about what dopamine chasing actually looks like. You wake up and grab your phone. Before your eyes are fully open, before your mind is awake, you're already scrolling. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter. It doesn't matter which one. They all do the same thing. They hijack your brain. You're not looking for information. You're looking for a hit, a like, a comment, a notification, instant validation from strangers. You watch short videos on repeat. 10 seconds, 15 seconds, swipe again. Your brain gets flooded with dopamine over and over until you're numb. You seek constant entertainment, music, podcasts, shows, games. Never silence, never stillness. Always something feeding you stimulation, because you can't sit with yourself anymore. You chase cheap pleasure, junk food, porn, gossip, drama, anything that feels good right now, anything that requires zero effort, zero resistance, zero discipline. This is what dopamine chasing looks like. And if you're honest, you recognize yourself in this. So why do weak men chase dopamine? Because they have no discipline. They've never trained themselves to delay gratification. They've never learned to sit in discomfort. They need the reward now, not later. Now. They have low frustration tolerance. The moment something gets hard, they quit. The moment they feel bored, they reach for their phone. The moment they feel any resistance, they run to pleasure. They fear boredom. They think boredom is bad. They think every moment needs to be filled with something. So they scroll. They consume, they distract, and they never build anything. They're unable to sit alone with their thoughts, with their feelings, with themselves, so they numb it all with dopamine. They have no long-term focus. Everything is about right now. This moment. This feeling. This high. They can't see a year ahead. They can't delay pleasure for progress. They can't sacrifice now for later. So they stay weak, not because they're incapable, but because they're undisciplined. And here's how it destroys your potential. Your attention span dies. You can't focus on one thing for more than 5 minutes. You can't read a book. You can't finish a project. You can't have a deep conversation without checking your phone. Your brain has been trained to need constant stimulation, and without it, you feel anxious, restless, empty. You lose the ability to do deep work. Real progress requires deep focus, hours of uninterrupted effort, but you can't do that anymore. You're too fragmented, too distracted, too addicted to the next hit, so you never master any skill. You start things and don't finish them. You learn surface-level information and call it knowledge. You stay busy but accomplish nothing. Your emotional state becomes unstable. Dopamine spikes feel good, but they crash hard, so you're up and down all day, happy when you get validation, depressed when you don't. Your mood controlled by external stimulation, not by internal strength. Your confidence disappears, because confidence comes from doing hard things, from building, from creating, from overcoming. But you're not doing any of that. You're consuming, scrolling, watching other people live. And deep down, you know you're wasting your life. That's the real cost. Not just the wasted time, the wasted potential. This is the self-improvement wake-up call. Discipline replaces dopamine. You stop chasing the quick hit. You start building slowly, patiently, with no instant reward. Effort replaces pleasure. You choose the hard thing, the boring thing, the thing that doesn't feel good right now, because you know it builds you. Purpose replaces stimulation. You're not here to feel good every second. You're here to become something, to build something, to leave something behind. and that requires sacrifice. This is where strength begins, not in motivation, in the decision to stop being controlled by your cravings. Dopamine is fast, discipline is slow. Dopamine feels good in the moment. Discipline builds you over time. Dopamine fades in minutes. Strength stays forever. Weak men choose the fast hit. Strong men choose the slow build. Weak men need constant stimulation. Strong men create their own meaning. Weak men are slaves to their urges. Strong men control them. You choose which one you are every single day, every single moment, with every decision. So how do you train your mind? You practice digital discipline. You put the phone down. You delete the apps after stealing your life. You set boundaries with technology. And you stick to them. Not sometimes, always. You reduce stimulation. You stop feeding your brain constant noise. You turn off the music. You stop binge watching shows. You create space for silence, for stillness, for thought. You embrace boredom. You sit with it. You don't run from it. You realize boredom is not the enemy. Boredom is where creativity lives, where deep thinking happens, where you reconnect with yourself. You do deep work. You focus on one thing for hours. No distractions, no interruptions. You build the skill of sustained focus, and you become dangerous. You control your habits. You don't let pleasure control you. You decide when you eat, when you rest, when you indulge. You're in charge, not your cravings. You delay the reward. You train yourself to work without immediate payoff, to build without applause, to improve without validation, and you become free. And slowly, your identity shifts. You stop craving cheap dopamine. You don't need the scroll anymore. You don't need the validation anymore. You don't need constant entertainment anymore. You seek pressure instead. You look for challenges, for resistance, for things that force you to grow. You tolerate boredom. You sit in silence and you're fine. You think, you plan, you reflect, and you don't need distractions to survive it. You build long-term goals, not just wishes, real plans, with timelines, with actions, with commitment, and you work toward them every day. You stop needing external validation. You know your worth. You know your effort. You know you're building something real. And the opinions of strangers mean nothing. Strength replaces craving. You don't need dopamine anymore. You need progress. You need growth. You need to become who you're capable of being. That becomes the new drug, and it's the only one that lasts. Weak men chase pleasure. Pause. Strong men build power. Comfort now. Pause. Regret later. Here's the new standard. No cheap dopamine. You cut out the apps, the habits, the distractions that drain you. You protect your attention like your life depends on it, because it does. Controlled habits. You don't act on impulse. You don't give in to every urge. You decide. You control. You execute. Intentional living. Every action has a purpose. Every hour has meaning. You're not drifting anymore. You're building. Discomfort daily. You do something hard every single day. Not because you have to, because you're training yourself to be strong. Progress before pleasure. Always. The work comes first. The reward comes after, if at all. This is non-negotiable. You either live by this standard, or you stay weak, and weakness is no longer an option. You've been controlled by dopamine long enough. You've scrolled enough. You've wasted enough time. Now you choose discipline. Now you reclaim your mind. Now you build the life you actually want. Not the one that feels good for 5 seconds, the one that lasts. Because here's what most people won't tell you. The addiction doesn't just disappear. You have to kill it. Deliberately. Daily. Every morning you wake up, the urge will be there. Reach for the phone. Check the notifications. Get the hit. And every morning you have to say no. Not once. 1,000 times. Until the urge gets weaker. Until you get stronger. Until discipline becomes automatic. This is the real battle, not against the world, against yourself, against the weak version of you that wants comfort, that craves stimulation, that runs from boredom. You have to become the version that doesn't need any of it. The version that sits in silence and builds empires. The version that chooses hard over easy every single time. That's the only way out. There are no shortcuts, no hacks, no easy fixes. Just daily discipline, just relentless self-control. Just you versus your cravings. And you have to win every day, starting today, right now. And when you finally win that battle, something changes. You start to see clearly. The fog lifts. You realize how much time you lost, how many hours disappeared into nothing, how many days you gave away to algorithms designed to keep you weak. But you don't dwell on it, you use it as fuel, as evidence of what happens when you're undisciplined, as proof that you can never go back. You become protective of your time, your energy, your attention. You guard them like treasure. Because that's what they are. You stop letting random people and corporations control your mind. You stop feeding the machine that keeps you distracted. You reclaim your power, and you use it to build, to create, to become. Not the person others want you to be, the person you were always meant to be. Strong, focused, disciplined, unshakable. That version exists, but only if you stop chasing dopamine and start chasing greatness. The choice is yours. Make it now. Comment discipline if you're done chasing cheap dopamine.